This solitary impala moved cautiously, its watchful eyes scanning the landscape for any sign of danger. Two hungry leopards, not far from the scene, caught the scent of prey and decided to try to secure a meal. They split up and began to surround the impala, which still hadn't noticed the watchful eyes observing it. At just the right moment, the two big cats broke the silence. The terrified impala bolted, not thinking about the direction, just trying to escape the predators. The chase was frantic, but what the herbivore didn't know was that this run was leading it straight into another threat. Hidden among the tall grass, a third leopard, almost invisible and camouflaged against the earth, was lying in wait. He was tense, ready to spring into action at the right moment. Right when the victim got close, its survival instinct made it realize the danger too late. With a powerful leap, it tried to jump over the leopard, but the predator was clever too. At the exact moment the impala jumped, the leopard sprang up from the ground in a perfect move, colliding with its prey in midair. The impact was brutal, and the herbivore was thrown to the ground. Wasting no time, the predator sank its fangs into the victim's neck, making sure the fight was over. With the impala already lifeless, the big cat dragged it away and headed toward the other two companions, who were waiting for the feast to arrive. In today's video, we'll show you several other impressive clips of animals coming out on the losing end in the battles of the animal kingdom. And you'll also see what happened to this leopard, who tried to take on a group of more than 12 adult lions all by itself. Number 10. This young giraffe, distracted while feeding on leaves high up in the trees, ended up straying from its group. She wandered aimlessly through an unfamiliar area. Her big eyes were alert, but she didn't notice the imminent danger. By the time she realized it, she was already surrounded by the piercing gazes of several predators. The giraffe ended up wandering into the territory of a pride of lions. They watched her in silence, their eyes gleaming at the prospect of a possible hunt. They were just studying their prey, as if waiting for the perfect moment. Among them, a lioness was the first to show signs of action, making a swift and precise move. She lunged at the intruder, leaping to reach the tall neck of her prey. However, the neck was out of reach, and the feline fell back to the ground. Determined, she tried a second attack, launching herself with even more energy. But again, her jump fell short and the lioness toppled over in frustration. Now, the pride of lions began to surround the giraffe, moving in sync, forming a menacing circle around the intruder. The giraffe felt the pressure mounting and started to react. With her broad hooves, she began to deliver powerful kicks into the air. Each kick was a brutal threat, because a single blow could easily break a lion's bones. For a few minutes, the giraffe kept the predators at bay. However, the lion's patience did not run out. They waited for an opening, a moment of distraction or weakness. The lioness, who had failed twice, was determined to try again. With a quick move, she launched herself into the air once more, aiming for the giraffe's neck. This time, although she fell again, her weight and strength were enough to destabilize the giraffe. The herbivore's long legs began to tremble until its body collapsed to the ground and the lions moved in without hesitation. The giraffe, defending itself on the ground, was quickly immobilized. In moments, the lions sank their fangs into the victim's flesh and the feast was served. The end of the line for the giraffe. She got separated from her group and became the meal for the pride of lions. Were you rooting for the giraffe or the lions? Leave your answer below in the comments. Number 9. This leopard moved like a ghost along the uneven road. Its eyes were fixed on a deer that was grazing peacefully just a few meters away. The predator kept low to the ground, advancing inch by inch without the prey noticing its presence. The distracted deer kept eating, occasionally lifting its head to look around. Unaware of the danger it was in, suddenly a faint noise reached its ears. The sound came from the leopard dragging itself along the ground. The deer stopped eating, raised its head, and turned its ears in different directions, trying to figure out where the noise was coming from. As still as a rock, the leopard froze the very moment the deer lifted its head. Its muscles were tense. The deer's eyes scanned the surroundings, but there was nothing that stood out. Confused and unable to detect the predator, it lowered its head again and resumed eating. The leopard seized the moment. No, it was just a few meters from its prey. Hidden behind a sturdy tree, it stayed still for a few seconds, watching and calculating the exact moment to strike. The deer, still unaware of the danger, took one last step to feed. It was the last move the leopard needed. With an explosion of speed and strength, the feline lunged from the shadow of the tree. The deer, in a desperate reflex, tried to escape, but its reaction was too late. Its sharp claws dug into the victim's flanks, and the deer went down, unable to escape the predatory force. The feline, with its jaws clamped around the prey's neck, quickly ended the struggle. Were you rooting for the leopard or the deer? Let us know in the comments below. The rate. This opossum was walking along the lakeshore, sniffing the ground in search of food. The small animal, unaware of the danger, kept on its way, but a predator was watching from the water. A patient alligator was submerged, with only its eyes and nostrils above the surface. Its body was practically invisible to any unsuspecting prey. The reptile watched the opossum's every moment and every movement, waiting for the right moment to strike. Suddenly, an astonishing scene unfolded. The alligator burst out of the water with incredible speed, moving toward the opossum. The mammal, upon noticing the movement and the sound of the water being displaced, went on high alert and took a few quick steps, trying to get away from the imminent danger. But in a moment of hesitation, the prey stopped and looked back, as if trying to understand what was happening. That was the mistake that sealed its fate. In a split second, the alligator caught up. With a powerful and precise bite, its jaws closed around the opossum's small body. Without letting go of its prey, the alligator dragged the victim back into the water, diving into the dark depths of the lake. The reptile pulled the opossum down into the depths, far from the sight of any onlooker. The prey, once walking carelessly by the water's edge, was now nothing more than a shadow, vanished beneath the waters, swallowed by the relentless forces in nature. Number 7. This footage was taken on a river in the southern United States, where a group of tourists was traveling on a boat. They were there to explore the natural wonders of the region. The boat had made a gentle stop along the riverbank, where a group of wild pigs was cooling off in the shallow waters. However, what none of them knew was that, camouflaged by the vegetation and almost completely submerged, a huge crocodile was patiently lurking. He was watching, calculating every move with the precision of an experienced predator. After a few minutes of silent waiting, the crocodile decided to make its move. Slowly, it began to glide through the water toward the pigs. Its approach was almost imperceptible. The pigs kept playing, blissfully unaware of the imminent threat. When the giant reptile finally got close enough to the pigs, they noticed the movement in the water and quickly moved away. Driven by a survival instinct, however, the crocodile was cunning. It submerged completely, disappearing beneath the surface. Creating the illusion that it had given up the hunt, one of the pigs believed the danger had passed. He approached the water again, convinced that the crocodile had gone away. Carelessly, he went back to cooling off, while his companions watched from a distance. Suddenly, in a swift and deadly move, the crocodile burst from the water and clamped down on the pig with brutal force. The animal's desperate screams echoed along the river as it struggled in vain to escape the predator's relentless jaws. On the boat, the tourists screamed in fright at the scene unfolding before them. None of the other pigs dared to come closer, paralyzed by fear. The pig thrashed about frantically, but there was no way to escape. The crocodile held its prey firmly, slowly dragging it into the deep waters. These tourists will never forget what happened right before their eyes. Were you rooting for the wild pig or the crocodile? Let us know in the comments below. Number 6. This huge group of wildebeest was crossing the African savanna, carrying out their migration ritual, traversing dry fields in search of greener pastures. Ahead, an unavoidable obstacle, a large river with muddy waters hiding its dangers beneath the surface. The wildebeest, with no other choice, moved toward the river, reluctant but driven by the need to survive. The animals pushed each other and plunged into the water, creating a current of desperate bodies trying to cross. The scent of fear and adrenaline hung in the air. Hidden in the depths of the river, the predators waited. Huge crocodiles were lying in wait. They knew this was the perfect moment to strike. The wild beasts were vulnerable, and the current made any attempt to escape even harder. Suddenly, a movement in the water. One of the largest crocodiles shot up like an arrow and clamped its jaws on a wild beast that was swimming a little farther away from the group. The attack was lightning fast. Sharp teeth sank into the prey. The struggle for life had begun. The wild beast thrashed violently, trying to swim out of the water. But the crocodile wouldn't let go of its prey. With the colossal strength of its powerful body, the reptile tried to drag the herbivore downriver toward the depths. However, the wildebeest resisted with all its strength. Driven by pure survival instinct, it used every muscle in its body to fight, keeping its head above water. While its front legs tried to find footing on the wet ground, the minutes felt endless and the battle grew more intense. The crocodile, realizing the wildebeest wouldn't give in easily, changed its strategy. With a calculated and fierce move, it momentarily let go of the prey's tail and bit down on a larger part of the victim's hindquarters. The wildebeest, which had been struggling with all its might, was pulled completely into the river, disappearing beneath the muddy water. Number 5. This little impala calf, lost and separated from the herd, wandered around disoriented. In the distance, hidden among the low vegetation, a solitary hyena was watching. Every move the calf made. The hyena, always an opportunist, knew that calf would be easy prey, and her sharp jaws were eager for the moment to strike. She waited for the right moment and sped up, her strong legs quickly propelling her toward the impala. The calf, sensing the danger too late, tried desperately to run away, but its awkward sprint and lack of life experience made it easy prey within seconds. The predator caught up to the calf, biting down hard on its neck. The little impala tries to struggle, but the hyena is already holding it tightly in her relentless jaws. The panting huntress drags the prey back to her territory, where other hyenas were already waiting. For the little impala, its journey had come to an end. For the hyenas, the feast was just beginning. Number 4. This small and vulnerable impala calf was all alone. Its movements were clumsy, still learning to walk confidently in a world full of predators. In the distance, a cheetah was stalking, its eyes locked on the easy target, moving with silent precision toward its prey. With an explosive burst, the cheetah sprang forward, and the little impala barely had time to react. The feline struck and brought down its victim. The calf writhed, its weak legs trying to lift itself up, but the cheetah was in control. With its claws gently pressed into the prey, the feline kept the victim immobilized. The impala cried out desperately for help, its call echoing across the savanna. But its parents were too far away to hear, or perhaps too far to risk it. The instinct for survival prevailed, and they knew that confronting the cheetah would be as good as signing their own death warrants. The calf made an attempt to stand, its trembling legs barely able to hold it up. The feline was waiting for the victim's parents to come to their baby's rescue so it could secure an even bigger meal. He waited, ready to attack if necessary. Minutes passed, but no one came. There was no response to the calf's cries, no movement in the distance. The cheetah then realized that the little creature was truly alone and lost. Slowly, with precise and calculated movements, the cheetah sank its jaws into the calf's neck. He dragged the prey into the vegetation at the edge of the road, where a second cheetah, his companion, watched in silence, patiently waiting to share the meal. Together, the two felines began to devour the prey. Why do you think the calf's parents didn't come back to try to save it? Leave your opinion below in the comments. Number 3. This impala was desperately fleeing from a lion that was chasing it. The panicked herbivore spotted a flooded area ahead. With no other options, it veered its run toward the spot, believing the treacherous terrain might give it a chance to escape. But as soon as its hooves touched the muddy ground, the impala sank. Every movement to free itself only made it sink deeper, and the mud held it in a cruel grip. Meanwhile, the lion stopped at the edge, watching the trapped impala. But what neither of them knew was that this area was ruled by a large hippopotamus. These herbivores are known for their ferocity and territorial nature, and they don't tolerate intruders in their waters. The sound of the impala in agony and the predator lying in wait caught the attention of one of the giant herbivores. With a deep, menacing grunt, the hippopotamus emerged from the water. It slowly moved toward the trapped impala, completely ignoring the lion watching from a distance. To the hippopotamus, there was no difference between prey and predator. Both were intruders in its territory, and it would not allow hunting in its area. The impala tried to struggle, but it was powerless. With a powerful movement, the hippopotamus opened its enormous mouth and bit down on the impala. The gigantic hippopotamus shook the impala from side to side before hurling it with all its strength against the ground. The victim fell head first, and its legs stuck out of the mud, but its body had already been swallowed by the ground. The impala ended up trapped without oxygen and lost its life. With this footage, we can see what a hippopotamus is capable of doing to keep order in its territory. Number 2, this leopard was moving silently through the vegetation. He was searching for food, something to satisfy the growing need gnawing at his stomach. Every step was calculated. His paws landed softly on the ground, covered with leaves and dry branches. The feline stopped, lifted his nose to the wind, and picked up the scents around him. He was close to the residential area where humans lived. But what interested him wasn't the people. It was the animals that occasionally wandered in that borderland between nature and the urban world. After some time exploring, a faint sound reached his ears. It was the trotting of a dog. A small, distracted animal was walking through the vegetation, probably venturing out from home. He crouched down, moving with extreme stealth among the trees and bushes. At the perfect moment, the leopard lunged forward with impressive speed. His claws sank into the back of his prey. The leopard, with remarkable strength, lifted the dog's body and began to carry it. His steps were now quicker, but still silent, as he searched for a safer place where he could eat without being disturbed. Number 1. This leopard was walking through the African savanna in search of food. He knew he was approaching lion territory, a forbidden and dangerous place, but his hunger had become unbearable. At that moment, he spotted what could be a one-time opportunity: a small lion cub playing carelessly. The cub was alone, vulnerable, and the leopard felt a surge of confidence. This was the moment he had been waiting for. He knew it was risky, but the need for food spoke louder than fear. With agile and silent movements, the leopard began to approach. His intention was quick and precise: to capture the cub before the adult lions noticed his presence. However, the intruder underestimated the vigilance of the lion family. When he was about to pounce on the cub, a deep roar echoed across the savanna, breaking the silence. Suddenly, more than a dozen adult lions emerged from the vegetation, advancing toward him with furious expressions. They surrounded the intruder with terrifying speed. The leopard, realizing he had made a disastrous choice, tried to retreat, but it was already too late. In an instant, the lions attacked with all their might. The first blow came from a huge male who knocked him to the ground with a brutal swipe of his paw. Before he could get up, more lions surrounded him, striking from all sides. The leopard thrashed, trying to escape, but the lions were relentless. They punished him harshly, not just defending their territory, but teaching the intruder a real lesson. It was a demonstration of power and authority, something the leopard could never have predicted. Finally, the leopard was finished off by the lions. Since you've made it this far, we want to recommend these two amazing videos that are appearing on your screen. We are sure you will like it very much. Just click and watch. I'll be waiting for you there. Warm regards.